Thank you to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes taught by professional artists, designers, and filmmakers. Maybe you've dabbled in Skillshare in the past, but you just never advanced your skills further. This year, make it a goal to take your learning to the next level with their new learning paths. These are curated class collections made for you to master a specific skill. A few learning paths that I think might interest you guys are your creative business, build it, brand it, launch it, and discover the art and science of drawing. There are also tons of classes on gouache painting if you see that I'm using gouache and you're interested in learning how to use it. So these paths contain classes from a variety of teachers that will really help you take your skills from beginner to advanced. If any of this seems interesting to you, the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Happy learning! Hello, it is time. We are finally trying all my new art palettes. Here's a quick little rundown of what we got. Where do we start? I'll go with the first palette that I've had for the longest, which is this Holbein artist Watercolor in collaboration with Higuchi Yuko. This palette is gorgeous, and I've had this in my possession for almost a year now, and I have yet to use it in a piece. And I think I need to get over my fear and just use them. I've been sticking to my acrylic gouache recently, and I need to branch out. It's April, it's spring, time to try new things, you know? We got this Liquitex heavy body acrylic. I bought this because I thought I was going to use it on the skateboards that I was painting, but I ended up just using gouache instead, and then I didn't touch this. I haven't used acrylic, straight up acrylic, since like high school probably. The most recent palette I got was from Japan. If you watched my Japan art supply haul, you would have seen this. This is Holbein's artist gouache, and this is like their professional gouache line. And I'm so excited to use it. This is watercolor gouache, I believe. We have watercolor gouache, and then we have Holbein's acrylic gouache, and I'm gonna challenge myself and only use the new colors that I bought recently in Japan. We have acrylic, we have acrylic gouache, we have watercolor gouache, and then we have watercolor. I've been sketching away, and I just traced this onto watercolor paper. My favorite watercolor paper at the moment is Aquarello's 100% cotton hot press paper. I prefer hot pressed over cold press because I just like the smoothness better. So my thought process here. So going left to right, we'll first use acrylic gouache, then we'll use acrylic, then we'll use watercolor gouache, and then we'll use watercolor. Does that sound good? I think that sounds good to me. We should just start painting now. I'm gonna put on a nice playlist. I think it'll be nice. What if this changes like everything? What if this changes everything? Let's start with acrylic gouache because that's what I'm most comfortable with. And then this is my setup for acrylic gouache. This is tinfoil with a layer of wet paper towel and then parchment paper on the top. And then I just fold the tinfoil over so it stays neat in this little package. And the water helps the acrylic gouache not dry up as fast because when it's in the palette, it'll dry up really quickly and then you can't use it. So this just makes your paint last a little bit longer. And then I just have a paper towel to wipe my brushes, one water to rinse my brush, and then another one to double rinse it to make sure there's no extra paint there. And that's on my right side. This is it. I have this sketch for reference. into the Liquitex acrylics. Yeah, let's just go for it. Okay, I cannot stop sneezing right now. Allergy season is real tough right now. I'm just gonna use the same thing, and I'm gonna try to mix the same green right here. So I think, actually, oh, there's a green. I think we'll just use a little bit of this. Bit of raw umber. Ew. And a little bit of red. This is a Holbein round 8. Let's see. Okay, day 2 of painting. Did the acrylic gouache and then acrylic yesterday, so now I'm gonna finish up with watercolor gouache and watercolor. My impression after using the acrylic, I don't like it as much as gouache. You could probably tell, I think it's way more transparent. I feel like the gouache is more opaque, and then so you could really see the brush strokes with acrylic, which I guess works if you want that look. I found it way harder to work with. I think that's probably because I'm not used to working with it, and I think I wasn't using an acrylic brush. You can see that there's a huge difference between the brush strokes. I kept my technique pretty much the same. I do mix a lot of colors as I'm going along, so there's a lot of different tones and hues. Yeah, this one, it just feels way more me. I feel very like uncomfortable with this one. So yeah, let's keep going. Okay, I got fresh water for the watercolors. And then I cleaned off this ceramic palette. I don't know, I haven't cleaned this one in a minute. So we're gonna use this, and I'm not using this situation because these are activated with water. So even if it does dry down on this, I could use it over and over again. So I just like to keep it on there so I could just come back to it whenever I want to use those colors again. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to use these. We're just gonna go for it, okay? We're just gonna go for it. Gonna put some music on, and then we're gonna start. Make sure these are dry. Okay, I think we're pretty much done with experimenting. That was really fun, but there's a ginormous mess of paint behind me. Scan this in now, finish everything else up digitally, and then yeah. I love experimenting with new mediums. I haven't done that in so long, and it feels really, really good to try something new. I hope it inspired you to maybe grab a new medium. My thoughts on each type of paint in my notebook here, and I'm just gonna read off what I wrote. And these are all my opinion. We all have different styles. We all have different paints that we like to use. So if I don't like something, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't like it. We all like what we like. First, acrylic gouache is the medium I've been using the most often. I wrote here it's vibrant, blendable, but I'm still able to see texture in my brush strokes. It uses a lot less paint, and then I could layer without the bottom layers moving because it does dry down. I think the Holbein watercolor gouache is my second favorite. Again, it's super vibrant. I noticed that these colors pop way more when compared to the acrylic and watercolor next to them. And it is a lot more blendable than the acrylic gouache, and you don't need to use a lot of paint at all. I put too much on my palette, but the good thing is that when this dries down, it could still be reactivated with water. So I could use this over and over and over again, whereas with the acrylic gouache, once it dries down on here, I can't use it. It wastes a little bit more paint. But it is harder to layer because it is water-based, so then when you put another layer of wet stuff on top of it, the bottom layer will move. Third favorite out of all of them is probably just straight watercolor. A little bit of this stuff goes a very, very long way. Same thing applies to it being able to be reused over and over again. I noticed this watercolor was very blendable. The colors were gorgeous. It has a very unique look to it. I think when someone uses watercolor, you could tell that it's watercolor. I feel like I would use a watercolor in certain instances when I want that watercolor look. Like, especially for the rain background, I tried to use more watercolor there. I did mix a little bit of acrylic gouache into there too, but I think the rainy look looks nice. Hi, Miso! Everyone say hi to Miso. I think she wants to go on a walk, so I'm gonna finish this up really quickly. The last thing, my least favorite was the acrylic. I think it just uses so much paint. It doesn't blend as nicely. Like, I found it really hard to mix colors. It's very sheer, so you could see a lot of brush strokes, which could be good. If I want that texture. But it was really sheer. And maybe the brush I was using wasn't the right brush. Very streaky, like I just did not like it. I noticed you can't layer water-based paint on top of it, but it does hold really well when you layer dry medium, like crayons, pastels, colored pencils, stuff like that. It looks good with acrylic. Those were all my thoughts. I am a gouache girly through and through. I'm definitely gonna try to use more watercolor in my work, and I really want to use this watercolor gouache as well. Another brand of watercolor gouache I like is Winsor & Newton. Those are so gorgeous, so gorgeous. So I had a lot of fun experimenting with you all. Let me know which one you think looked the best, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!